Welcome to my podcast, Shaping Your Journey. My name is Aldo Mazza, percussionist, drummer, and artistic director of Cosa Music. Inviting you to listen in on conversations with friends, artists, and many great people in the music world. Today I have the great pleasure of having Billy Cobham with us, and I have a couple of questions, actually a number of questions. But before we talk about this, would you mind just for those few who may not know your past history or where you're coming from, little bit of background?
No, I wouldn't mind. What part of the background would you like to have? It
Well,
seems to be a lot. We could talk about all of that, or we could talk about something else.
no, I think if we started like
Fundamentally, I'm coming out of, oh boy,
Panama.
school, that kind of stuff. Went to Music and Art High School in the '60s, late 1959. After that, started playing locally around with the likes of George Cables and Clint Houston and Benny Maupin and people like that. Went into the United States Army, and in the same band, ironically, was Grover Washington and who else was in that crazy band? I don't know. A Catholic. Yeah, it was a group of crazy people. Cecil Bridgewater, a great trumpet player. Gene Benson, another great trumpet player, used to play with Basie. And next thing you know, I get out of the Army. And about a month later, I'm on the road with Horace Silver. And that was January. So February, I was on the road with Horace. And recording quite a bit then. Well, actually, that late '68, I started to work with Horace through that period from February until about December, and in his band. And whenever we weren't working, which was like rare, he was like amazing. For 10 months, man, we were on the road at least an average of 2 weeks a month, easy. And because I could never feel comfortable being at home because I was never home. And then after that, it really started with Mahavishnu. No, it didn't. It started with Dreams. Was in the studio a lot, working for Creed Taylor and CTI. And then the Dreams project popped up because I was all that time I was doing a lot of subbing for Grady Tate, Mickey Roker, Bobby Thomas, most of the Mel Lewis. I was like the last hope when they had too many things. They not double but triple booked. Call the kid and see where he is. Get him quick. And then after that, Dreams. After Dreams came some recordings with Miles, about 6 or 7 records, but that was again more studio work, and then right smack in the middle of all of that came the Mahavishnu thing, and that started around '71, ran until '73, and then after that I was on my own with my own band, whether I wanted to or not. And that was the end. The rest is history. We've just been working ever since on that.
And it's amazing. I mean, I came across. Well, I mean, most of us, most of the people that I relate to or speak about you, they all have the same thing. They saw you with Mahavishnu, early '70s. I remember I had just moved to Montreal, and you were coming through, and it was a big deal. So we came to see you at this nice little theater at the place Parc La Fontaine. Beautiful little theater, and I remember seeing you play, and I had never seen somebody play with such a big kit, playing left-handed, open like that. It was just, we're all like, wow. It was like a revelation, and it was interesting and very, very inspiring, I must say. And then I kind of, I mean, through all my studies, and I went to New York a lot, and then I started seeing you on, you mentioned Creed Taylor, the CTI records.
Right.
And those were beautiful. I mean, the Milt Jackson Sunflower,
Hmm.
beautiful, beautiful concept.
One
And
of my favorites. Yeah.
yeah, and then I'm reading because I've been following your work. You know, we pay attention to people you enjoy listening to and have been influential on whatever level. And I'm seeing like that you have been recording all of these years. I mean, James Brown.
Yep.
What record did you do with James Brown?
White Knight.
White Knight. Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, I had the pleasure of working with James Brown for a short period.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
Mine was even shorter. I guarantee it.
all I remember about James Brown was he came in and we're doing a TV show, and there was, you know, with the horns, the whole band, and the band
Hmm.
leader said, somebody asked, well, do you have the charts? No charts. So quickly everybody put down one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it was funny because this very first thing was like sudden. And we rehearsed, you know, Living in America, or whatever that big hit of his was.
Yeah.
And I remember that one specifically because he worked out certain endings. So we'd have to remember all of this. So we're writing down, or, you know, no way you're going to be able to read this because he's changing every 2 minutes, right? And I remember at one point he said, I'll be doing this for that tune, so you're remembering it. We go live on TV, and he's not doing anything,
Any of it. Right.
right? And it was so funny because we're playing along and everybody's looking. I'm playing percussion on this. You know, we're looking around. I was saying, okay, it's like, what am I looking for in this one? How we're going to end this, right? And fortunately, somebody does something, and we all end. So then I suddenly remembered the record, "Take It to the Bridge."
Yeah.
Of course, they were probably doing that in the studio, right?
Yes.
I mean, wow, that's a real experience. Wow. So now I got that. And then when people afterwards said, you know, nothing was in concrete, it was at that moment. That's what you did. It's like,
Right.
and what was your experience in the studio with him, though?
He didn't say much. As a matter of fact, Phil Ramone, who you may or may not know who uh, he was the engineer and kind of, I don't know. Well, he was the go-between, and so he just told us what to do, and we just did it. James was just hanging out, watching, and when it was done, he never said a word to me. You know,
Wow.
and that was cool. I mean, I didn't need the aggravation, you know, and so you know, I just packed my stuff, and I was gone. It was like you know, a will o' the wisp, man. You know, I did. It was a studio date, and they wanted me specifically for whatever I did. I can't even remember on it. Might have even played bongos or something. I don't know. But anyway, we did it. I was gone, and that was the end of it. That was my experience, and I can't be happier to, to express it that way. It's cool. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just a kind of a as close to being a hermit as possible. Need peace and quiet, no aggravation, please. You know, if not necessary. And I was gone. But it was interesting to be in there. Everybody did what they were supposed to do, and we got out real quick. No problem.
Yeah. But you were living in New York for a very long time doing studio work. You were doing some TV work while you were there
I,
also?
I did Saturday Night Live for one season,
Okay.
and that was a season with Walter Matthau, Bad News Bears. I was the drummer for all of that stuff.
Nice.
My big problem, I love that show. My problem was I couldn't physically get past that very thick smoke that was inherent on every show. And I mean, to the point where they could go, no, Saturday Night Live. And when you saw the band on the stage, you saw a lot of people on stage, but only you knew there were a lot of people on stage, men primarily, because you saw their knees down. Everything else above the knee was in smoke. And that was marijuana, man.
Wow, really? Oh, okay. I thought it was for the lights, the smoke that they, set up for
Well,
the.
you could call no, but you see, I had to my bass drum, my Tama bass drum. You could not see the insignia. You only saw it. You saw half, 50% of the bass drum, the 22, was was below because all of the smoke was rising.
Right. Wow. I
And I just couldn't make it. I couldn't make it. After a while, we did one, the famous Julia something or other, the cook, the chef in Canada. She cut herself with a knife in one of this, and Aykroyd took her place on Saturday Night Live. This was a skit, and he said he got, speaking, he needed a doctor. So of course the doctor became Belushi, who was playing the samurai, and he had a sword, you know, to cut off his hand. And, oh man, it brings tears to my eyes. I was crying. I was laughing so hard. I almost missed my spots, but it was insane. Those guys were way off the hook back then. Not to mention Gilda Radner and what? Who else was there? Bill Murray. Oh, silly, crazy stuff, man. But it was really, really good quality. Second City was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, they're funny. I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time understanding now. I mean, people are not funny. Maybe
Oh, it's
I lost
nothing
my
to do
sense.
with what was going on back then. I can only imagine what would they do with all that's going on now?
Oof.
Oh my God!
Yes, I
If
don't
they
know.
were, younger and more, oh my, the writers, no,
Yeah, they're incredible. You
way
did.
out of line, man.
You did. You
They'd
did.
go to jail. For sure.
Well,
They would definitely go to jail.
they wouldn't last there very long. Yes.
No, they wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It can't. Yeah. Now it's like you can't be
Trump?
funny. It can't be
The
funny.
whole thing. Yeah. The whole thing with Trump and everything. Oh my God.
Yeah. But anyway,
Oh.
you had some. I noticed. I was looking through. I found it really interesting because I thought I knew your background and I'd been following you for years, and then I'm seeing you did something where you had Gino Vanelli on an album, or you did something with Gino Vanelli. He's from Montreal.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, that was gosh.
Drums and voices.
Drum and voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the big thing was that this was a formula record. It's a series of formula records. And what happens is that it starts with me. I come in and play some grooves, and they may have something that they hear something from me, and then the producers are also musicians, and they start to play in and around those grooves, roughly. And the next thing you know, they refine it, and then it's up to them to find the artist that will fit in.
Ah. Okay.
I think
Interesting concept.
I've done about 4 records, maybe 5 records with them, and it's been a lot of fun. Pretty easy going. And they're out of Milano, by the way.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh yes, it was. I remember the name. The producers being Italian. Yes.
Yeah, Novecento.
Novecento.
Novecento. Yeah.
Right. Nice. And another one thing that surprised me, I mean, nothing really surprises me but I had no idea you had done these records, Cuba y Panama. You did something.
Yeah.
Some people with a group, Cuban music. I didn't hear that album because I was trying to find it because I was really curious.
Mm-hmm. What that's all about was the band Acere.
Right.
It was a band that only played son. But they were on tour when I was introduced to them with Peter Gabriel's WOMAD. And I was on contract to WOMAD for a couple of years it was kind of like a jack of all trades. Sometimes I would introduce bands, sometimes I'd play alone for an hour, just drum set on location. And the whole thing, Pete was so into technology. The whole idea was to record me and then sell that recording in 20 minutes from the time I finished. 1 hour drum solo with me was on sale. with a picture of me playing and all of that, and it was only available there.
Beautiful.
When I and they had all these machines going, man. It was like maybe you could get in 20 minutes time it was ready, but they had maybe 50 machines, and they were turning that stuff out maybe once, I mean 50 copies every 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And we did really great business and became a big contest to see who would get the most bucks, because just to see how the ratings went. And they used it in many different ways. I was quite happy to do it. It was like so much an interest. But I was on one of the festivals back in the day. They had at least 3 festivals in Spain, and there was this one festival close to the Portuguese border, I think, where they had an idea. They wondered what would happen if I played with Acere. Of course, Acere didn't want the kunga player. I can't remember his name, Vincente something. He wasn't really up for it, and rightly so. I mean, they're going to throw him into something that
Sure.
he doesn't know where it's going. Excuse me. I was going to give a lecture, so I said, "Come on, man." He no English, speaks no English at all. So he's there with one conga drum, and they said, "Well, let's see how this works." So I said, "You go ahead. You want to do something, play, and I play with you." And he reluctantly started to play, and you could see he was beyond cold. I mean, he just didn't. It was the summertime, and we kept playing together. Took a few bars, and next thing you know, it was like I'm still with him. I haven't gone anywhere, and it's starting to become interesting. Just what he's playing, and I'm supporting him, and he's feeling something that he normally doesn't feel from another percussionist whom he's never worked with before, especially a trap drummer. And I'm starting to lean him in directions that he hadn't intended to go. Next thing you know, it's full. He's really having a ball and forgetting as hard as he can. He's trying to hold on to the idea that I got a gig that's coming up, and he's playing. He doesn't want to blow himself out for the concert he has to play with. But now he's tired. And he's going, I can't do much. And he's he can see in his face. Said, "Okay, you stop it. It's okay with me. It's fine." And then they came looking for me afterwards. Said because the WOMED saw that this could work. I was offered the opportunity to play on tour with them at least twice. We did European tours primarily, and we made 2 recordings and at least 1 video. Yeah, Paris and Panama. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And the idea was mixing Panamanian music with Cuban traditional?
No,
No?
I
Or
was a
just because of
Panamanian.
your Panamanian?
I was with Panamanian, and the other guys were about 7 guys from Cuba or 8 guys from Cuba. And I just learned a book. I learned what they were doing, and we went out and played. I played bongo sometimes. I played bell, timbales wherever, and it just became a very friendly thing. The problem that everybody has with me, and maybe I have with myself a little bit, but I was just looking for peace and quiet, and this was a lovely thing to do for the love of it, not for the money.
Right.
So when I'm done, where do I go? My wife and I go to our rooms, and we either read a book or have dinner internally and be quiet until the next one. And that was hard for people to accept. I'm not bouncing around for rum and all of this other thing. I don't need to drink rum. That's not me. So that, I think, didn't help. And I don't cigars. No, I don't do. No, so all these things. These guys are selling cigars, and they're all the guys are in one guy. Vicente was the chef. They never ate anything because they were not making a lot of bucks individually. they had to really be careful what they spent, if they spent anything at all, um, until the last day, because they had, as I understood, a special deal with Cuban Air or whatever, Air Cuba,
Cubana, right?
to send back all of the stuff. This was all for the families, so they would work hard. And I was all due respect, man. Those guys did what they had to do, getting whatever they got. I mean, I was even prohibited. I mean, at one point in time, I wanted to give them, I think, each $100, and they were, no, you can't do that.
Yeah,
And I finally got it. I finally got it. Um, that was not, because that money wasn't going to them anyway. It was going to the guys that run the country, apparently, at the time. And I said, no, this is a little bit too complicated for me. I even bought the trumpet player a trumpet. I mean, he didn't have his trumpet got stolen, and I bought him another Yamaha.
wow, wow.
And it was, the objective was to repay me, and I never saw that money. Of course not. And I said, maybe in another life, whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, back then it was really difficult for them. I remember I
Hmm.
had asked you. I mean, we've been doing these workshops in Cuba for over 20 years, and we've been
Hmm.
bringing down instruments. I mean, there's a whole other mission, building the bridges and
Hmm.
on a musical level. And I remember we had talked about with Giraldo Piloto inviting you down and joining us over there. In this joining people from here, from all over, and
Yeah.
away from the politics, away from all of that stuff,
Hmm.
and connecting the musical community. Because, I mean, like it or not, they're influenced by what we do, and we're obviously
Uh-huh.
influenced by what they do. So it's
Hmm.
interesting to be in person and to be doing these exchanges and on that ground in that territory. I mean, I've had the tremendous experience so far. It's been a lot of work, of course, but it's great satisfaction, and I hope to. Hasn't worked out when I invited you in the past, but because you're so busy, but maybe one day in the future that works out.
Yeah, it's only been, for me. It's always come down to, I was in Cuba once, and I was there when, in the days of Irakiri, and
Ah,
all
yes.
of that. That's exactly, and that was the first time and the last time I was ever really invited seriously to be there. Primarily because they said, we don't have any money to pay you. I went, well, I can't work then. I'm not going to work for free. You have enough musicians down here. You don't need me. And so hence I've never gone there. And so that's cool. And I get it. And I don't know. The whole social scene is, as it would appear politically and all of that. Yeah, it gets in the way of the music, but okay, if it's the way it is, that's the way it is. I can't,
Sure.
you can't beat a rubber tree plant, but so long. Ask Frank Sinatra. Look at him. What's he doing these days? I mean, it's just like, you just gotta keep going. You go someplace else. You try to make it the best you can. That's all.
Yeah. No. No.
If it works out, I'm there. But someone has to say yes. What's your bank account number? Or what is this? And then the question is, how do all of the technical things that go along with this can of worms called music business, and
Ah, yes.
if you can get through that, you'll be all right,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's music, for God's sake. But to have to deprive the artist from earning a living, come on. Yeah. They have such a wealth of geniuses there. They
Oh,
don't need me.
incredible, and yeah, and I mean, there's a great educational system, and also the whole
Hmm.
society supports it, and everybody knows whether
Hmm.
you're singing traditional things or the latest. Everybody knows everything and knows everybody. I mean,
Hmm.
and that's nice.
Hmm.
It's always nice, and it's funny because someone just the other day was mentioning to me that they were doing something. I won't mention the other
No.
country, but he said it's amazing that people here don't read. Nobody reads. I mean, they're
Hmm.
referring back to Cuba. Said there, everybody understands everything. They have opinions, of
Hmm.
course, but there's a,
Hmm.
a, a level that you're dealing with that you
Hmm.
don't find too many places, and less and less. And I
Yeah, you're
said, well,
right. You're
that's
right.
what happens when you put an emphasis in education in
But
general.
Aldo, yeah, I mean, take a look at where we're at now. I mean, for me, it starts maybe 20 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, can't be more. They started to prohibit script writing from kids in school. You couldn't write with script hand anymore. And they said, no, you have to put the alphabet in the box. You have to post everything exactly this way. You have to do this. So people started to dumb down
Yeah.
in that particular area. And I would look at the beautiful hand script of my parents from Panama. You had to learn how to write, man. And I realized, man, this is on purpose. Somebody is trying to to dumb down the general public, and it starts here. I wonder where it's going to go. And I laughed to myself and said, sure, eventually there'll be cars with no drivers. Hello,
Yes.
here we are.
No.
And Tesla's full blast, man. Electric. Okay, it's all good, kind of, maybe. I saw a Rolls Royce that was just beyond understanding. I mean, $1 million and something bucks with no steering wheel. It's just and yeah, and to
And
just drive home the point, it's a convertible. And there are people waiting at the stop sign for this thing, and they're looking, and the person's reading the paper in the car, and and they keep going, and you go, no, it's here, man. It's all this
Yes.
kind of stuff, and you stop and you wonder, why is this? Who gains from this? It's complicated. The questions are complicated, and also the answers, but
Sure.
they're not really.
Yeah.
It's like food, the same thing. Monsanto, all this kind of stuff. It's all designed, and there is a reason,
Yeah.
and it's about control. I get it, Yeah, I get it.
And there's also, they sell us the idea of it's for convenience. I mean, when I remember that whole transition from LP to CD,
Mm-hmm.
CD, and then you actually had CDs, and
Mm-hmm.
then you had no CDs because no
Mm-hmm.
computer, nobody had a system, so you couldn't even sell the CDs
Right.
or buy them.
There you go. Couldn't even play them in the car. It's the funny part is to get into a friend. I have a friend in Middle America, down in Nashville. He still has an 8-track player
Wow,
in his truck.
nice.
And I go, but I got the CD. I wanted. He said, no, I don't have a CD, man. I'm going, well, I can't even put this out on 8-track. And he said, well, I'll record it, at home, and I'll put it on my 8-track. I'm going, oh,
Yes.
okay, that's a bit remote, but
Yeah.
oh boy.
But there is, there is an interest. I remember watching an interview, Ringo Starr's latest recording, EP, one of the talk shows, he talks about this, and he said it came out on cassette,
Mm-hmm.
and the cassette actually outsold the CD, which was a
Mm-hmm.
surprise to him. It was a surprise to me as well. I was surprised. But,
Yeah,
LPs.
that's a collector's item,
Yeah. And these physical things that you had to buy the item. I still have all the machines from my childhood. I kept all of
Yep.
those because if I want to play any of them, I want to be able to. I'm just like that.
I hear
So
you. I hear you.
I have all of them. I have storage with
Mm-hmm.
all those machines because when the LP started coming back, I had like 5,000 LPs because I just loved listening to music. At one point, I just had to give up most of it, except the ones I'm on, or ones that I just had to keep, which were maybe a couple of hundred LPs.
Right.
But that's a whole other trip. Being able to take that, you put it on a record player, and you listen to it, and it sounds huge. And there's a big interest in that. But for everything else, we've given it away, right? And where I don't know what your position on that was. I mean, I don't mean this to start bashing the music business, the record companies, but it's just really strange seeing that people are willing to, they need everything for free and convenience, Spotify or whatever platforms, and nobody's getting paid.
No, not at all. I mean, when I see Taylor Swift, get $8,000 for 150 million plays of one tune, and that's all it is. Can you imagine, man? I got an acknowledgement of my Stratus had been played, had 150,000 plays, thousand plays, and I got 0.0400004% of it.
It's called
And they said,
convenience.
yeah, yeah, and they're looking. They said, we can advance you $200. I just said, come on, forget it. No need, no need.
Yeah,
It's such
that's
a shame.
yeah, and you try to explain that to people, like that whole paradigm is completely wrong, and especially when you hear Paul Simon and all of these, Neil Young, all of these people selling their catalogs, and
Hmm.
people say, well, why are they selling their catalogs? And then your quick response is, well, if they don't, they'll never see any money.
There you go.
you
Well,
know?
at some point in time, it diminishes in value, and they're getting to a point where, and a lot of the people who are familiar with this kind of music are passing on. I mean, they're making it to the next phase, and phasing themselves physically out, dying. So who will care? So you might as well take the money now and
Yep.
but look at your retirement, be quiet, and that's it, man. I get it. I get it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's interesting. But I wanted to throw something else at you. You had worked with other people such as Carlos Santana.
Yeah.
Um, are these like choices you've made, or you just happen to run across this, or somebody says, "Hey, Mr. Cobham, we have this project we'd like you to participate in because we think it's a great idea."
Well, I was invited to participate with Carlos and John McLaughlin. That's how that Mahavishnu record came up. Those guys were at some point thicker than thieves in friendship with their guru and all that kind of stuff, which I got it. And as a matter of fact, I played, that may have been the last time I played the Montreal Forum. Um, and It was an experience because I've always thought of Carlos as being one of the most, he had such a beautiful sound
Yeah.
on guitar, one of the greatest sounds on guitar I've ever had, you know. And then I had a question about the content because I'm just not a fan of all that kind of stuff. But his sound, especially on a ballad or something like that, oh man, it was always, he's playing from the heart. He plays what he knew, and that was enough for me when it came to some of those ballads that they played. Um, and I often wondered if he had the opportunity to really play. I mean, to get around the instrument more. Where would he go with that sound? And it'd be
Mm.
off the hook, never to be heard from. As far as I know, I haven't heard it. But that's where the his selection of tone and everything was off the hook. You know, I love
Instantly,
that.
yeah, he just plays one note, and you know who it is.
Exactly, man.
Amazing,
Exactly.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There were some other, I mean, you've been touring. I mean, you haven't stopped touring and recording since back in the early 70s, from what I
It's
remember.
now over 50 years. I mean, I
Wow.
just found that somebody just we did a chat talking about the albums that I made on my own. It turns out I had no clue that I have had. I'm the only person who's recorded more albums as a drummer leader is Art Blakey,
Wow.
and I didn't know, you know. I'm not counting. I'm just what I'm doing is presenting my ideas through the music on generally a daily basis. And now the big the value in it all is that I have an outlet. Not that it's going to make a whole lot of money for me. It's not that. What is really the point of consideration is how well I perform my music in collaboration with my groups. You know, how well we work together, the mutual respect that we have that is shown through the music. If we play well, guaranteed we're going to do at least 20 to 25% of everybody in sales. If it's just a giveaway CD that people may never ever play, they'll buy it because
Right.
they heard it live and they heard some of the tunes that may not be on this record. They will hear some of the things live that they never heard before, and then they know it's on the record, and then they'll hear other things they never heard before. And I have a 50-50 chance that they'll come back and hear another show someplace else at some other time. So I'm good with that. I can work with that, and that's all I accept. I don't need a Grammy. I don't need a, Academy Award. I don't need someone saying, "Man, you sounded good." No, I need them to come back and listen some more, because that means we have a gig,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's all I'm all about that. That's all. That's the reality of it all, man. If we play our buns off, we'll be okay.
No, that's it. I mean, and that's what drives you, right? I mean, that's you get up in the
Well,
morning.
it's what the heavy about of it is. You have, especially now, you got war, you've got COVID, you've got this, you've got that on multi international levels. I mean, almost like the whole the Milky Way is completely out of whack.
Yeah.
And so now you've got to come back with something that will get people's attention, which ironically could be the simplest material in the world that sounds good, it's played well, and it's given the impression of security to those who are listening. You get that all happening, and You'll have work up the wazoo. I mean, I'm turning stuff down because my reputation is that I'm on time. I have a band of quality. My name, no one needs to hear who's in the band unless they really want it as a contention, something to contend. Well, he didn't bring X, Y, and Z, so we won't pay this money. Doesn't matter about the music. But I mean, we know all about these kind of
Right.
little hooks. So that's a music business. So you go, no, I'm going to be there. So now you know that I'm not going to bring people who can't play. Not to
Right.
mention, back behind the scenes, I'm saying to myself, none of these people it wouldn't make any difference to them anyway, how the music sounded, because they don't care.
Right.
They have no idea what's going on with the music. What they're concerned about is whether they have to pay the artist or not. I mean, I've been on gigs where I get there, we set up, we do everything. Okay, the deposit didn't come. Okay, but it's really about trusting. So this time we take the high road, and okay. By the time we're finished, we've got everything set up. Sounds good. We're ready to go, and no one has any money for us. Well, okay, that means we're going to leave then. All of a sudden, amazing how quickly the money shows up. And in most, but the frown on the face is, I don't like to pay before the band plays. I said, well, the band doesn't play with me until you pay me. So I guess we're in an impasse, right? Or I mean, the place is full. What else more they already made their money.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are sitting down, they already paid for it. But those people give the whole entertainment industry a very, very, very bad name.
Yeah.
And they make and of course the artist's name on the marquee, he's responsible or she's responsible. Hey, bad luck. Meanwhile, it's even worse. It's painful even for that, but it's even more painful if you don't get paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being responsible. Come on.
Yeah.
So you can't. You try to cut down on all of that, and then the beauty of it is that those who don't like you, can't afford to not respect you because you've done what you had to do to in return, you've done your thing as you promised, got paid before. They didn't want to do it, but you did do it all, and people are walking back and telling him, "Hey, you need to bring that band back again," uh,
Yeah.
without knowing the fact that next time the band won't come until all the money is paid in advance.
Right. But I mean, that's just professionalism, professional that everybody should be doing anyway, right?
But they are not,
Yeah.
and they think if they think they can get away with it, oh, what's artists? In my day, blah 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 blah. Who is it? No, those days are gone, man.
Yeah.
We have something to sell. They have something to buy.
Yeah.
They said they want to do it, then they must be prepared to pay for it. Especially if they signed a contract that said that they would do so.
Exactly.
And we have that, and what's a big deal? It's a very easy thing. We'll play even better when we know everything was taken care of properly. That's all.
That's true. I was just
Yeah.
thinking, you did a whole bunch of concerts with symphony orchestra of your own
Yes.
compositions, right? Were any of those recorded?
Those were recorded. I played with the radio orchestra of Frankfurt Radio Jazz Orchestra. I played with the NDR Big Band. I played with Stuttgart Radio Band. Whew. I played with in Austria with radio orchestras there. And the whole thing that I found is, as I found with my Spectrum album, is that fundamental premise is that people want to feel good. They don't need, they love to be impressed by a million notes per bar, but they only see that. But if they can tap their foot or move their body, in the chair and do this, all of a sudden the eagle flies on Friday, and you might be back the following week, the following Friday to do that for them again because they're working really hard. I mean, the whole objective is to bring things to the table that shows that the you are reaching out to them, that there's a point of connection with everybody, and you play things that they know, but not only know that they can feel comfortable with, and they want to see and feel it and experience it again. And generally, it's all about that. Even with the new material I may play, or even with material that I haven't written. Like one Christmas holiday, I was in Moscow with the National Symphony Orchestra, playing the music of, Christmas carols or something. But I don't know. I can't remember what it was, and I think some things that Louis Armstrong had done, but it was for 100 pieces, and I had to play, and I had this drum part that I had to play, and so I played it. Everybody had a ball. I just played the time, and all of this is with full percussion, and but I had the drum part, and then I had to play a solo there, and it was fine. It was we played and sync together, and you could understand. For me, it was wonderful to see that most of these people didn't weren't sure that I would be able to pull it off and play in time and in sync with them. They expected me to go out there and just guns blazing, I'm just going to take over the whole thing. And they wanted me to play a solo, and I said play alone, but I needed to bridge the gap between where we ended and where we started again. So of course I played things that I felt everyone could relate to, especially the strings.
Yes.
And the conductor, he didn't know what to do with himself. So it's this kind of situation to play things that he could tap his foot to and finally bring the band in on time. And everybody was happy, man. No problem. And yes, I did play a solo. It was meaningful and all of that. But primarily, it was all about playing as part of the orchestra. If you have that attitude to present, yes, that's your part. You have to play alone. That's what solo says. But you still are part of the orchestra.
That's
So
right.
you play for the orchestra, yourself, the orchestra, and the people who are listening. Guaranteed, you will work a lot.
Yeah. That's like saying, I mean, you're playing for the song. I mean, no matter who you are, you're there to make that song work, or
Hmm.
whatever the context would be.
There you go, man. Yeah,
And
sure.
yeah, and you've
That's what
always
it's all
been
about.
you've always been really good with that, because we know Billy Cobham, that
Hmm.
but not always. I mean, you're a musician who plays what needs to be played. Um,
The whole objective is to try to find the right sounds in the right place, in the right time. I could. I was just listening to an album I made with Ron Carter and Kenny Barron in Japan in 2003, and we were playing standards, and it was trio with a 5-piece kit done, and all I had to do was make sure, and I didn't do it well enough for me. The drums needed to be more in tune with what the other two guys were playing. So I had to be more selective about what drum to play when and where, and how to approach uh, playing with them to enhance what they were playing, that would reflect how they were influencing me musically. So
right.
that's what I'm thinking. Okay, not always. I mean, rarely is it Eve ever. I could say I have a winning percentage doing that, but it's something to strive for, and if they know that you're trying to find a way to get in and around things, to give you solos and you're listening, multitasking can be very, very interesting. Emil Richards used to tell me the same thing. I mean, he's looking at a chart and that may not necessarily be a chart that he should be looking at, but relates to the instrument that he's grabbing for on in the studio to play that, because it was a trumpet solo that played, and he's trying to find an instrument that will enhance that. Oh, that's crazy. Vic Firth the same. All these guys back then, it's like they're not just thinking about their part, they're thinking about what else, but everybody else is playing at the same time. That's a serious multitasking thing, that's happening. I love that.
Yeah.
How's it all going and who's doing what? You don't lose contact with everybody else with the band, but at the same time, you need to know when or when not to do to contribute, because your silence might be exactly what was necessary at the time.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. No, it's like being a painter. I mean, you have to add something, or if you're cooking, you don't just throw something in just because you feel like it. If it
There you
doesn't
go.
make sense to that
Hmm.
dish or to that context, then
Yes, sir.
it's a
That's right.
disaster. So yeah. I mean, it's having musical taste, having enough experience, or um, being sensitive musically to know what's
Although,
going on.
yeah, you're
Right.
right, man, and all of that, but it's easy. It's easier said than done, and so that's my horizon. I keep striving to get there, knowing that I will fall short, but that's the reason why I want to keep going. Because I will accomplish certain things along the way that I will never forget, and may or may not use again. But
Right.
we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
And what are the things that you haven't done yet that are on your personal horizon, whether you end up doing them or not?
I'd like to play with a poet. I'd like to work just drums. Uh, Maybe I'm thinking about putting together a cocktail drum set, to support uh, poetry, just a series of things like that, and then playing in and around that, adding certain uh, sounds if necessary. It depends, but I can't get past the rhythm thing, working with the rhythm of rhyming, and seeing how that works. I have a couple of people in mind. We'll see how we go. It's kind of a remote idea.
Nice, nice, nice. No, but it's great. I think everybody should explore expanding their own horizons, because if you're in your own
Yes.
trajectory that's just going this way, well, you're
Mm.
missing out on things that are available to us. Just because you're busy, well, I use the word busy on this other thing, which maybe it
Yeah.
should be wider. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Some people just like they have a formula, and so they just do that because why? That's what got them there. Okay, and so that they want to build on that. But if it's people, the people who's where they started have moved on,
Yeah.
and if they still stay in the same place, at some point in time, they go, okay, that's it, and it comes rather quickly than it does, sooner than later, you know, and then they're left behind. But that there you go, this no one will miss them because there's so much else going on.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to send you an album that I did. My brother was a poet, so I did an
Hmm.
album. I wrote the music and produced it. So I was kind of
Hmm.
forced into it. It wasn't in my own path, but it
Yes,
was one of
yes.
those things that was like my brother was so interesting, and this project
Hmm.
was like amazing. So I just stopped and did that. So
Hmm.
I'd like to get your feedback on that. But
Oh, I'd love to, love to.
yeah, no, I'll have to send that to you just to have your feedback on that. And it's nice because you realize that you're enhancing your own life, not just as a musician, but as a person, and having
Hmm.
other references. Because I had to sit down and have him explain to me these words because these certain words were images that were very deep. So I had to
Hmm.
understand that.
Hmm.
It was not in my personal training, but I said, this is really interesting, but I don't quite understand it. So we would sit down for
Hmm.
hours and hours, and he would explain, and we would
Hmm.
discuss
Hmm.
this. So says, I can't do this if I don't understand the image or
Hmm. Hmm.
what's behind these words, because especially in poetry, it's not just that the thing rhymes, but there are certain images, and it's very compact. One word
Hmm.
is a
Hmm.
story, that kind of thing. So I learned a lot from that. Musically speaking, that's what I came away with
Yeah,
that. So
I
that's
understand.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Well,
Well,
it's just something that it caught my eye and thinking about it.
yeah. No, I look forward to hearing that. If you ever do it, please let me
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah. We'll
and
be we'll
we'll
be in
let
touch.
and yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you. I mean, we could go on and on about because you've done so many different things musically. In your going. I mean, you're a world traveler. You have been all your life from the '70s, and you celebrated your 75th anniversary once at one point with
Hmm.
orchestras, and now you keep going, which is fantastic. I mean, I think that's um, great for people to see that you just don't stop unless you absolutely have to or you're forced to. You know,
Hmm.
but what would you say to someone today who wants to be making a statement, who wants to be in the music world, be a drummer, a percussionist, or musician, generally speaking? What are the things? How would you guide them in their own trajectory at this point in time?
Well, based on what they have to offer, I would tell them and urge them if they're good at what they do at their craft right now, living in their own little community where they may be top dog, whatever. I'd say get out of town, go and visit the next town over. Go to that town when you feel comfortable with that. If it's different, go to the next city, go to the next country. When it's time, when you feel comfortable, when you feel that you can go and contribute, not just go to to figure that you are going to give something, but you're going to go and receive in return. Because every time I would go, be in Europe, and everyone's when they remembered, hey, Billy Cobham hasn't been here in a while. Is he alive or is he dead? And that has happened a couple of times where got phone calls from people saying, "Here's the flowers." Huh? Yeah, it's me, man. I'm still here. Really? Yeah, but I left the United States, so uh, offshore, everybody's gone. So when I'd come back to play the Blue Note that nobody thought that I'd ever do anything with, over once a year, it was always sold out for the whole week because nobody knew what happened to me for the rest of the year. And we do two shows a night, maybe in on Fridays, way back in the day, three shows. On Saturday and Friday and Saturday. And changing sets and drum. I did that with Tony Williams. And on the same show. So it always was very valuable. I wasn't selling any records in the United States at all. I mean, no, I had recordings. I could sell them at the Blue Note, and I'd sell more records at the Blue Note than I would sell in the rest of the country
Wow.
in less than 5 days. And of course, Atlantic or whoever represented me at the time did not like it because it made them look bad. Hey, come on, you know, what's wrong with that picture? Yeah, right. And that's one of the reasons why the music business is where it is. So I would say all that to be said is that if you travel and you experience, uh, you're going your experiences are going to come through the music because you're going to play them. You're going to play differently than from where you came from. You won't lose it. You'll just add to it, and so that whole approach is going to present who you are right then as reflective of all the things that happened in your past. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't lose, man.
No, no, that's it. And I mean, ultimately, you're responsible for what you do. And I mean, you are shaping your journey and you have to make decisions and people will open doors for you. And you have to,
Absolutely.
but you have to be there. You have to show up and you have to be,
Yes, you do. You do.
you have to be active, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it just doesn't come to you. I mean, nothing ever does. And if it does, then you might suspect that there's something, you want to be active. You want to be driving the bus. Right. That's always more fun.
Sure, sure. I mean, it's all good. It's nice to come back to what was called home 40 or 50 years ago and play something that everybody goes, really? Like, wow, didn't know. Oh, I remember that, but how did that morph into this? And leave them with something to think about for the next time if we have an opportunity to come back and break bread, share some experiences. Why not?
Yeah. Very well said. I mean, we can go on for days. I really appreciate your time, Billy, with us
Hmm.
in shaping your journey. I mean, it's an important thought in my book,
Hmm.
thinking about obviously what affects us, what draws us to make certain decisions, why we go somewhere. I mean, you have to have a purpose, or you create a purpose, and you're always driven by
Absolutely.
something, right?
Hmm. I think that's right, Aldo. And I mean, it would be lovely, as I said, to get to Havana. Not only Havana. I mean, I'd love to get, but I mean, that's just taking. That's already how can I say, a chore in itself to make that reality. Until people realize that, hey, it's got to be a two-way street. Uh, but I'm open. We'll see how it goes with
Well,
that. I better get running, man.
yes,
I
sir.
better go.
As I
Okay.
say, to be continued. Thank you so much, Billy.
Pleasure for me. Okay. Take care.
Thank you.
Be well.
Ciao.